Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. The legacy of Brad Wall and the Saskatchewan Party continues, following a majority win in the 2016 provincial election. In the Cypress Hills constituency, Doug Steele will embark on a new chapter of his life as MLA for this corner of southwest Saskatchewan. Forced labor, prostitution, and other areas of human trafficking were in the spotlight during the Ignite conference in Swift Current. Thanks for joining us here today. Following another majority win by the Saskatchewan Party, we take a closer look at the popularity of Brad Wall through the eyes of his constituents. The legacy of Brad Wall and the Saskatchewan Party continues, following a majority win in the 2016 provincial election, clinching 51 of the 61 seats in the legislature. A victory which the re-elected Premier and MLA for Swift Current was humbled by, as he credits his continued longevity in the legislature to a strong campaign team and a supportive family, all dating back to a positive upbringing by his parents.
They're people of integrity. They have an amazing work ethic. They're very compassionate people. You know, they were always free enterprisers. My dad, sort of small C and probably big C conservative, but his example was always one of giving. He understood that there's a means to the end. We want to be economically successful as individuals and as a province, as a group, but for reasons beyond the immediate economic success itself, we want to be successful because it gives us a chance to give back or to maybe improve quality of life. And that's sort of been our, that's really the DNA of the Saskatchewan Party.
And as Wall's role as Premier of Saskatchewan remains intact for another 4 years, his constituents share their thoughts as to why he remains popular locally and on a national level.
He was special in many ways that not every person is, and I thought he would become something someday that we would be proud of. That's the feeling we had. And we were right.
Sure, it's charisma. You know, that helps any political leader, but it's an ability to be able to identify what people want, be able to put the team together to put those ideas into fruition and execute on it. And he's been believable. He's acted on his beliefs, and he's given the people of Saskatchewan what they've wanted.
He remembers people's names. He cares about people. You look at what he's done for the handicapped people of Saskatchewan, for the halfway houses that we never had before. It matters to him, and it actually matters. He doesn't just say it does, but it does.
Brad Wall was first elected as the MLA of Swift Current in 1999, chosen as the leader of the Saskatchewan Party in 2004, and elected as Premier of Saskatchewan in November of 2007.
Saskatchewan is not just a great place to be from. It is a great place to be.
Bringing his experience as a former Reeve and Director for SARM, Doug Steele is ready to represent the constituents of southwest Saskatchewan, this time for the Cypress Hills constituency. Following the landslide victory by the Saskatchewan Party across the province, many repeat MLAs will be heading back to the Saskatchewan Legislature. In the Cypress Hills constituency, Doug Steele will embark on a new chapter of his life as MLA for this corner of southwest Saskatchewan, coming in with a sense of excitement and optimism.
Well, nervous right at the present time, but no, I'm looking forward to it. It's during the campaign and getting out and meeting the people from the southwest, and the few I knew and the few I got to know more. It's been great. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to working with the team that we seem to be gathering here tonight, and it's going to be good.
Bringing years of experience to the table as the former Reeve for the Arm of Gull Lake and Area Director for SARM, Steele is ready to address the concerns of his local constituents.
Well, it always seems like healthcare, education, and infrastructure, roads, and that type of thing, but I think those are all things we can actually get taken care of by working together as communities and government.
An official date has not been set at this point in time, but in the coming weeks, Steele and the other elected MLAs from across the province will be back in Regina, getting to the task at hand for the next 4 years. Human trafficking was the focus of a recent conference held in Swift Current. We find out more in this report. Human trafficking isn't a topic of discussion common on Coffee Row. However, the issue of forced labor, prostitution, and other areas of human trafficking were in the spotlight during the Ignite conference in Swift Current. The three-day event brought in guest speakers from across North America, each sharing their personal experience as outreach workers or first-hand accounts of living life on the street. Up until 10 years ago, Beatrice Wallace-Little, chief of Regina, was immersed in the world of drugs and prostitution. Having been molested from a young age, she grew up in an atmosphere where she was mistreated and felt unworthy. And at the mere age of 14, was introduced to drugs and life on the street.
I was a runaway. I was a very innocent girl at the time and didn't know anything about the streets. I'd never done drugs, I'd never drank, I'd never kissed a boy before, and I was taken to this house, and within a matter of not even an hour, I had a needle shoved in my arm and being prepped for the streets, so that's how I started.
Now, several years later, a mother of 8 children and 3 grandchildren, Beatrice is telling her story as a form of personal healing and to offer hope to other women in similar situations.
Our society is very broken. The way things have worked, especially for First Nations people where I live, residential schools didn't work, 60-70 scoop didn't work. Our thousands of children that are in foster care isn't working. And I think there has to be just a total shift that's starting to happen where survivors like myself speak up and talk about everything that's happened to us and how the system is flawed, and to just totally turn around.
An underlying message of community engagement, which event organizer Stacey Schwartz also hopes will spur future conversations and action on the issue, as referenced to in the title of the conference.
When I always think of Ignite, it's what starts, right? I mean, to start that fire, to start that passion, you need to ignite it first. And we wanted to spark that with bringing in our speakers that we did, who can share some really profound stories, some personal stories, but also give hope with the issue, because so many times we can be, you know, the doom and gloom, or bombarded with more of the negative of some of these hard topics. And often that's for people to have a passion for something. They also need, right, that hope to come along with it, that they can have a role in this, that they do have an impact in this. And so that's definitely why we chose the title Ignite, because we saw this as a starting ground to ignite that collaboration. Maybe it is just right now in small Saskatchewan, but we're hoping that it can be something much bigger and just start those conversations at a local level and start as a movement.
More information on the conference's guest speakers and the Ignite initiative can all be found online.
I declare living space open on behalf of all of us.
Well, this wraps up another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at MyLocalTV.ca. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.